Hey guys, it's Ann. Welcome to my home worm farming channel. If you're looking for a kind, supportive vermiculture community, you are in the right place. Today is the day that I am going to hopefully get this part harvested. Looks like it's as done as it is going to be, but I need to do a little bit of an aggravation method in order to get these worms to leave. And then this will become the pre-harvest tray that will only get worm chow from now on. And then this one is actually going to be the feeding tray. So let's get this up here so that I can give it a little bit of aggravation and entice these worms to leave. Usually leave it for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and that will give them the incentive to vamos. It is currently 58 degrees in here and 40% humidity, so I'm not sure how fast these guys are gonna go. So I'm gonna help them out and pick some. They're looking a little bit slow is kind of my point of view here, is why I'm picking them, because at 58 degrees, although they're, perfectly fine, they're probably not going to be very quick, and if you've been here very long, you also know how impatient I am. So I'm going to do a little bit of hand picking here and hopefully help these guys out that perhaps aren't all that active. Now there's a lot of crumbs in here, looks like eggshells for the most part. And I am just going to harvest directly onto blue, so no worms will be lost in this procedure. They will just go live in a different home if there's little ones or cocoons that I'm harvesting here. So this is also kind of the light method. The goal here is not for them to dive down into a big ball like you would do in the light method, but this is I'm hoping they go to the next level down. I'm not sure if it is less annoying for them or not. Hard to say. I know that in the past I've heard people say that doing the light harvesting method is kind of stressful on the worms. And although I do try and minimize aggravating them, I come in here about once a month. It is unavoidable when it becomes harvesting time. That is one of the good things about the wedge systems. They do all the migrating on their own, and I get a little spoiled when I'm in a system like this, where I actually have to do the harvesting for them. But this is a worm channel, and we are here to see different worms in different situations, and hopefully, depending upon whatever situation you are in, you'll be able to learn something from not only me, but the other people that watch the channel and put comments and answer comments below. So whatever questions you may have about red wigglers or a tower system, go ahead and put that in the comment section below, and although I do answer all of them, you may get a different answer that's better suited to you from another viewer. Yep. Sometimes I don't get the opportunity to powderize the eggshells, which leaves me with a lot of big chunks, but that's okay. They'll go through the bin again. Okay, I'm gonna kind of put this over. There's an area right along the edge that does not have holes. So I'm gonna make sure these guys are in a good place right there so that they can go down, or I can grab them up and move them over. Basement here is not actually heated. The only way that it gets heat is just from the ductwork from the furnace being up above me. And it is about, what? I think when I was looking at the weather app, it said something like, feels like -4 Fahrenheit. And if you live in one of those areas, darn right well, you can't tell the difference between -4 and -10. It is a matter of, are your eyes crying when you're outside, or is your snot just frozen? And we're to the snot frozen step yet. All right, let's give them a little bit longer. Looks like the aggravation method is going good here. It's only been about 5 or 10 minutes. All right, grab a little bit more here. Good job, worms. All right. These guys are really hustling. It's kind of surprising considering how cold it is. Let's see a couple more. Almost there. You see there's a couple of babies that are going into blue, but that's okay. Come on, worms. Get your booties through. Worm booties. Okay, I'm just gonna tap this. You can tell they're kind of in between. All right, so what we're looking at here, this is going to be the pre-harvest tray, which I'm gonna allow to dry out and hopefully get itself finished up in the next month or two. And what we're gonna do here is I'm just going to see what this is like. This got the tomatoes last time, and it is really wet. So these worms still have quite a bit of food that they can work on. Those tomatoes are still definitely not completely gone. They're kind of like sun-dried tomatoes. So these guys don't actually even need any worm chow this time because they've still got food. This is the layer that I'm gonna start feeding people food to. This is the layer with the torn up cardboard. And quite honestly, this is turning into kind of a mess. So I'm gonna break one of my rules that I normally don't add any kind of bedding to this, and I'm gonna give them some coconut coir. So this is the one that was started in September, and got some of my pepper plant pots. So I'm just gonna kind of put this in here and stir this up a little bit first before I feed it, because that is way too mucky. There's no coconut coir in here. This wasn't prepared bedding. This was just slices of cardboard, and I'm seeing that that is not being super helpful for the worms to finish up and not get really sticky. If your castings or your bin gets super sticky, one of the reasons is that you don't have anything to kind of hold the fibers apart. And one of the good things about coconut coir is that is exactly what that does, and it makes a much more user-friendly, people user-friendly castings. All right. So here is the next tray down, and this has not had any people food whatsoever. This has just had the prepared bedding, but it's got a good moisture. I think that those tomatoes really did help and get this all nice and wet. And let's see, put that guy in there. So we don't really need to look at this other than to note that it does have worms down here, and maybe it could use a little coconut coir too, just to kind of help it out. For a while there I was out of coir, so this will help out a little bit. Unfortunately, the mouse apocalypse has had a resurgence, so I didn't have a weight on the top of this, so there is the possibility that I've lost some worms to, yet again, more mice. And then here's the very bottom layer. Pretty good moisture for the bottom layer. You like to have this be a little bit drier simply because you want this to absorb all of the liquid from any of your feedings. So this has had a good amount of azomite, and that is really all I want to do with this one. I'm going to put this one back on and restack the bin. All right, I don't actually have a lot of paper or anything right now, so I'm going to start this bottom layer with just some scrap paper that's been shredded and an egg carton. So this will be the new one that we start today. We'll put this little buddy back on the stack as well. Then we are looking at the layer that I'm going to feed today. Okay, and per the recent trend, we are still going to continue to feed pumpkin here. Some white pumpkins. There we go. And let me get them some grit for that. Give them a little bit of azomite there. Cover it up just a little bit. Kind of nestle it down in there. Hopefully that will discourage the mouse from causing problems. Move that over. I'm gonna rescue the red wigglers. And then let's look at this layer. I said I wasn't gonna give it any worm chow, but I am going to be gone for a couple weeks, so I'm going to give them some worm chow anyway. always planning for the future as to what the worms are going to need. I'm not going to scruff it in. I'm just going to let it be on the top. And this is just oatmeal, rice, chickpeas, whatever was expired, and that'll be just fine for them. So if you like this system or the red wigglers, I have a whole playlist that you can watch right over there. And also, if you've already seen the playlist, YouTube thinks you're gonna like that video right over there. All right guys, thanks for hanging out with me and my worms, and everybody have a good day.